Hey guys, Matt here, trying to keep it simple. Just wanted to show you the progress on the '86 Mustang. Um, as I mentioned in previous video, I made the mistake of beginning with high build primer, and when I went to block sand everything down to make it nice and flat, what I noticed was a ton of highs and lows in the vehicle, in which I couldn't see when it was in its original paint. It looked beautiful, thought the body was nice and straight, but with that high build primer, which I started with, which I should have started with epoxy primer, that's a much better sealant, noticed a ton of highs and lows. If I can figure out this YouTube thing and be able to snap in a quick little picture, I would show you the hood. I had it all sanded down. You'd see spots of primer, you'd see epoxy primer, spots of high build primer, you'd see spots of paint, you'd see spots of bare metal. So that tells you that the hood was definitely not straight. So I kind of went back down to the beginning. I got it all blocked off, had body filler in there, got it all blocked out with the Durablock that you see there, got it nice and straight, and now I'm back to the original first step, which is the epoxy primer, and that's where I'm sitting at now. What I'm doing with the Durablock is, because the sealer doesn't really sand all that great, what I'm doing is I'm just gently, if you notice this little flake right there, you're going to see or feel or be able to just simply, and that's what it does with your sandpaper. It just simply sticks to the sandpaper there. You got to scrape it off either with a brush or with a razor knife. So what I'm doing is I'm just gently going over it just to eliminate some nips. I'm not trying to sand anything down. I'm just nice and smoothly sanding over as to just simply get rid of some of the nips. And there's a piece right there that's got to go. And this is what you end up with, little chunks like that. So before I spray the actual high build primer onto that epoxy and give it a nice 400 grit sanding to make it nice and smooth, just giving it a nice little soft little dusting over with the Durablock, remove any type of debris that may have fallen on there, dust, some of the paint that, or some of the epoxy primer that didn't quite adhere to it. So I want to get all that loose stuff off of there before I give it a good cleaning. Again, do the high build primer. Then I can do a good sanding with the 400 grit, have a nice smooth finish, ready to add the final epoxy primer before stepping into the base coat, clear coat. But I'm doing one section at a time. Not necessarily how a professional is going to do it, but I want to be able to get this car at least to the epoxy primer stage. It does say in the technical data sheet, if it's over 96 hours or something like that, 72 hours, that you'll have to give it the epoxy a good scuffing before moving on to base coat. But I've decided to do that, considering I'm only doing one little section at a time. Only got an hour or two here and there. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be just concentrating on one simple piece at a time. That way I can get through the covering the bare metal, the body filler, all with epoxy primer, sealing it, then doing the high build primer, getting it nice and flat, and then sealing it off. From there, that sealer can sit for quite a while. It's in a moisture barrier, protects the rest of the body of the car. So I'm going to do that because who knows how long it's going to take me to get each and every panel square epoxy primered, high build primered, and back to epoxy primer again. So one step at a time, one piece at a time, and eventually this whole car will be nice, square, flat, and in epoxy primer. And it's winter right now, middle of December, so I figure I got quite a few months until I hit the 70, 80 degree weather, and that's when I'll do the actual paint job. So one piece at a time, trying to do it right, trying to get it done to the best of my ability, and you'll see the progress as I go. All right, guys, keep it simple.